Thank you. I feel very privileged to be speaking with you all today and sharing the story of Lifeblood and our transformation in relation to customer experience. And I thank Oracle for inviting me and being an amazing partner. I have the wonderful privilege to work for an organisation called Australian Red Cross Lifeblood. We're synonymous or known for in Australia for collecting blood. We collect life-giving blood, plasma, and other biological products that, as it was introduced, we save lives every day and hundreds of thousands of lives every year. So we're committed to providing life-giving essence to support the everyday well-being of Australians. We sit under the auspices of the Australian Red Cross, but we are a separate organisation and wholly focused on the collection of biological products that are turned into life-saving, whether it be drugs for cancer, fresh products that are used in accident and trauma, and many other vaccines and wonderful uses to save lives. So just a little bit about us. We collect around 1.6 million donations a year. That's growing to over 1.7 million this year coming. We have over 500,000 Australians that roll up their sleeves to donate blood every year. That could be one time, that could be many times, and they donate blood, platelets or plasma. We have 96 centres around Australia. Most of them are what we would call fixed sites, but we do have pop-ups and mobile donor centres that roam around the country to regional and more remote areas of Australia. We welcomed 107,000 new blood donors last year, and like any, sales or marketing funnel, we're constantly working on attracting new donors, retaining existing donors, reactivating lapsed donors, and getting our donors to donate more often. So we operate in a full funnel cycle, constantly nurturing existing and new donors through that through the journey. 36%, amazingly enough, of our blood donations are made as part of a team. So it's 36% see themselves as being part of a community. That could be part of their workplace. It could be a community group, a sporting club, a church, many different ways that people come together to donate together. And something that many may not know about us is that we actually collect human breast milk, and we feed vulnerable preterm babies, amongst other things. We have 3,600 people working with us, over 1,000 of volunteers over and above the 500,000 donors that volunteer their valuable time. We have an enviable Net Promoter Score of 86.6%, and coming from Australia Post before this, that was something that we would aspire to back then. Nearly 400,000 followers across social media channels, and incredibly active social followers. They're very active, and we have very strong advocates. As you could imagine, when you donate blood, you do feel you have a very strong sense of saving lives, and we're very privileged to have a lot of our donors advocate and share a lot on social media on our behalf. We generate or send out over 3 million communications, highly personalised to our donors, and we have over 4 million visits to our website. So that gives you a bit of a snapshot on who we are. So what I'm really here today to talk about is the transformation program around customer experience. And as we were just listening earlier, it's not just technology and data, but it's really a whole organisational transformation. And for us, it's as much cultural as well as technology and data. So it's interesting, having delivered a number of different customer experience transformation projects in my career, what I've learned is that it's not a one-size-fits-all. Very much I've had to go in and look at the organisation and determine culturally, where are they at, how customer focused are they already, what sort of programs do they have in place, what's their readiness, and to define a program that's purpose fit for the organisation. Obviously, when you're in the business of saving lives, we're an incredibly purpose-led and very customer-focused organisation. But ultimately, we were doing that in silos. So the customer experience transformation program was about creating a collaborative organisational effort around lifting the entire customer experience across all customer groups. So we did take a holistic approach to delivering great experiences. So like any complicated organisation, there are lots of different types of customers. We have donors, and that's probably the thing that we're most known for. They actually provide the product that is actually delivered to our end customer, who is the hospitals and clinicians. They pay, or the government/hospitals pay for that product. We also see our employees as being incredibly important to the delivering of experience. So what we do is customer experience as a transformation needs to sit at the heart of the strategy and the strategic agenda. We have taken a very strong position that it's customers and employee experience, and I think a lot of organisations have moved to that as well. We definitely believe in that service profit chain equation, where if you do have happy employees, that if they do have the tools, the skills, the data, the technology, and high engagement with the purpose and satisfaction with the workplace, then you will deliver happy donors and customers in our case, and ultimately better outcomes for the organisation. So our enterprise experience program is quite holistic and looks across all that. So what we did to start off with is we knew that we had really strong pockets of great customer experience, but it was being delivered through divisional silos and a lot of good customer intent. But what we wanted to move towards is a customer-led, best practice, co-designed approach to listening to customers and actioning, and having the systems and the support mechanisms to not only improve the customer experience, but design great experiences moving forward. So we applied a diagnostic. We got an organisation in to help with that. We wanted to understand what we were good at and where we needed to double down our efforts to really lift our capability. The diagnostic was benchmarking us against global best practice, and we came up with 5 streams that were important to Lifeblood that we needed to build a program of work around. So the first one was vision, and this is really change management 101, where we needed to make it really clearly understand as to why customer experience is important, how it is different to customer service, why it's important to everyone in the business and it's not something delegated to the front line, and that we wanted all our employees to really take ownership and understand within their role what can they do and how can they impact the customer experience. The next stream was around data and metrics. Obviously, no customer experience program can be without data, and certainly insight into how we are going on customer experience. We had developed some good lagging indicators like NPS. We had a really strong closed loop feedback process in place for both staff and donors. But what we really missed was a number of things, was leading indicators and a holistic dashboard that was real time and actually delivered to the people that could make a difference. And we really didn't have a good understanding of the moments that matter. So we were trying to fix all parts of the journey, and there were lots of different siloed teams working on different parts of the journey. So that's what we needed to solve. So the community practice is all about governance, driving better collaboration, prioritising effort and funding, making sure that we have a consistency in approach. The last two are really what I would call enablers. So lifting employee capability. So if we have an expectation they deliver a great experience, how do we make sure that they've got the skills to do that? And underpinning all of this is our technology layer. I would have to say in the last 4 years since I've been at Lifeblood, we have been on a rapid deployment of better technology to deliver personalised experience and a better understanding of our data so that we create more better insights. So through the vision stream, we're able to deliver a customer experience vision. Actually, this hasn't been launched to our staff yet, so you're actually getting an early snapshot of it. But why I wanted to share it is that it sort of goes to the heart of what we're trying to achieve. So changing lives through caring moments, effortless interactions, and expert solutions. So everything we do is very purpose-led, as I said. We have a very caring and life-giving organisation. It's at the heart of who we are and our purpose. It's very hard work being a donor. We expect a lot. It takes time. We expect people to turn up on time, spend time in a chair. They need to get a needle in and a needle out. So we expect a lot of effort and a lot of time from our donors. So how can we make that as effortless and as possible? And how can we add value to their experience through expert information? So some sort of cross between what they give and what they get back. So the other part of the enterprise program was to look at the donor journeys and the customer journeys and really understand what the moments that matter were. It was interesting, we went out and we did quite a significant quantitative piece to define what those moments that matter were. And to be honest, it would be fair to say that what we internally thought were the moments that matter were slightly different to what the donor thought. So the moments that matter for our donors is when they arrive in the centre and how they're greeted, how they fill out the questionnaire and how easy that is and check their eligibility. Waiting to give blood is a big pain point. So how much time between when you check in and when you end up in the chair donating, and having your blood taken. So whilst it happens very rarely, if something happens in that process, it's quite a negative experience, as you could imagine. So we now have an organisation rallying around those 5 top pain points that are actually linked to those moments that matter, which is a real shift to prioritisation of effort and money. So what I would like to spend the next half of this presentation is really talking about how we're personalising the donor experience. We obviously have started with data because without data you can't personalise. And our data is, we've been using data and insights to develop up segmentation. So when I started, we did have segmentation in place, but it was very rudimentary, and I would say it was very linked to donor demographics, and particularly the things that we knew about them. So what we've started to do is create a model around, and I call it a triumvirate model of donor behaviour. So how do they interact with us and how do they behave? Donor motivation, so what motivates them to be a donor, and how does that differ within clusters and segments? And obviously donor demographics. So they're all pulled together to create clusters or large segment types. And then what we're doing is working with our marketing automation platform, which is our personalised communications, and really collects data around behaviour, is moving towards a segment of one within those large clusters. So ways that we're using data, so reliability, for example, we have to have 120% appointments on the day to deliver 100% of collections, because we have 20% of donors that fall out. So they either don't turn up or they cancel at the last minute. So we always have to generate more appointments than we do collections, and it's a big effort to generate appointments and a big task for marketing, and a lot of effort goes into that. So what we've been able to do is determine which segments are more reliable than others, and every single donor is now flagged with a reliability score. So how we use that then, that's based on past behaviour, and we use that with a high level degree of confidence that their future behaviour will be similar. And when we have an unreliable donor booked in for a donor appointment, we put additional appointments and book more donors in. So we get a better outcome for our business, understanding donor behaviour, and then feeding that into our operations to make sure we get enough donors to collect blood on the day. We're also using donor behaviour and analytics to understand when we have a donor that's more likely to have a fainting event, for example, and we can put interventions with that. We are also using our marketing automation platform to put interventions into our communications to change behaviour around reliability, which is really exciting for us because it's a high pain point for us internally. So these are our segments. We're up to the point now where we have them all flagged in our system. We know who they are. We are communicating them to them in different ways. And we're up to the point now where we want to start to design experiences that are different for different segments. So I'll pull out one segment here, which is our apheresis ACE. They are donors that donate plasma, and they donate a lot and often, over 10 times a year. And there's only 3% of them, but they deliver 14% of our collections. Now, as an example of designing experiences around this donor, they're very experienced donors, so we don't need to surface content with them that tells them how to donate or improve their donation. They're seasoned donors. We also need to make sure that they can get the appointments that they usually desire. So some of these donors donate the same time every second week, and will donate 24, 26 times a year on a Monday evening, every second Monday. So we need to make sure that we have those appointments available for them. So that's just an example of how we're, I guess, translating segments into experiences. So the next layer for us, and a really important point, is our digital ecosystem. Whilst everything on this page, from search engine optimization, Google Analytics, our website, chatbots, our live chat coming soon, which we're partnering with Oracle on, our app and our portal, these are not unusual assets for any organisation to have. But I guess what stands out for us is that when I started 4.5 years, we've had virtually none of this. So we've had to build this very quickly, and we've had to implement, and what we've done is implement great foundation capability to be able to really transform our ability to deliver those personalised experiences through our digital channels using the data that we collect. The one great thing that we had when I arrived over 4 years ago is that we had a single view of our customer, incredibly powerful for me as a marketer. And because we had already implemented the Oracle Service Cloud, and so all the data around a donor was sitting within that system. So with our app, I mean, we obviously, like all organisations, have a mobile first strategy, which wasn't in place when I started. So we've had to flip that around. So we didn't have mobile first. So what they were doing is building desktop first. Our app has been delivered in the last couple of years. And what I would say is it's a really great functional app. It does a really good job of booking your appointment and managing your appointment, but it certainly doesn't deliver what I would call personalised experience that's relevant to the donor, and neither does it operate across the donor journey. So this is our vision for our app going, what we're going to deliver over the next 12 months. It's highly personalised to the donor. It's servicing content and data and through dashboards that are relevant to the donor and at the journey they are in relation to giving blood. So that's pre-donation, during the donation and post-donation. So that's where we're going with the app. We've just recently launched our website last week as well. We've just upgraded all the technology which will enable us to deliver personalised content to unknown and known donors in the future. So whilst for some organisations and other organisations I've worked for, this has been happening for a while. I guess our story is that we were a bit of a laggard, but we're catching up really quickly now, which is great to see. One of the first projects I implemented or kicked off when I arrived at Lifeblood was our one-to-one communications. So one thing that I felt without the marketing team is that they were very acquisition orientated and were not retention orientated. So we all know the adage about retention is significantly cheaper than acquisition. And so I wanted to set up a retention team, and I needed to support them with technology. So 3 years later, we implemented the Eloqua system, the marketing automation system. We delivered that last November. So it's not that we weren't doing retention communications, but they were what I would call batch and blast. So we had no ability to segment or personalise the communications in any way. So this is an example of the donor journey from when they're not a donor right through to reactivation. They're highly personalised and timely communication. It's the right message to the right donor at the right time through the right channel. The integration was incredibly complicated, and that's why it took a long time. Whilst we had a single customer view through our service cloud, we still had 27 integrations to create. It was the largest integration at significant scale that the organisation had ever undertaken. Since we launched in November, we've automated and have live over 160 campaigns. We've built 300 assets, and we have over 500 audience segments built. So when I talked about segmentation and we have those large clusters or large segments, we're using the automation platform to be able to define over 500 subsegments now. The marketing automation platform manages our emails, our SMS, our push notification, our call lists to our contact centre, so for outbound calling, and our very limited and small amount of mail. They all have to work as a system. Previously they didn't, so we pulled them all together, and what we're looking at is making sure that we use the right channel to communicate the right message and that is most effective for that donor. We've just switched on the AI model in the last week, and so we have about 6 months of data now from which to learn, and that AI model will be specifically working to understand which channel has the most influence on a donor booking and a brand new appointment. So this is an example of a campaign. It was the first campaign we turned on, and it was the thank you email. So every year we send out a thank you email to our donors, so to let them know that we're happy to have them as a donor, what they've given us, how many donations. But before our marketing automation platform and Eloqua was delivered, we were able to only send out very rudimentary information. So we've been able to send out a highly personalised email. It then led the donor to click to a highly personalised landing page, all built within the Eloqua system. And on that landing page, they were able to see how many donations they made, what sort of donations, whether they're part of a team or not, and what their impact was. And we know that understanding individual impact is really important, particularly for donors and volunteering. So impact is really important. This email alone had a 47% uplift on our previous thank you email using our old system. So significant improvement. We measure appointments. So we're very, we do measure lots and lots of other things. So we have very high open rates, over 50%, which is amazing. And we nurture and protect those open rates very carefully. But to get a 47% uplift in appointments is significant for us. So I'm just going to conclude now. So we have been running really fast with implementing and changing and transforming our customer experiences. We've taken both an enterprise approach to really get the foundations right. We've been working really hard to get our data and understanding our donors right, and overlaying technology that means that we can deliver highly personalised experience at scale. We have a bold vision for our customer experience through changing lives, through caring moments, effortless interactions and expert solutions. I feel that we've delivered great capability, and now our opportunity over the next 18 months is to unleash that capability to really accelerate what we're doing over the next 18 months. We still have lots of technology to deploy because, as we know, that landscape's changing, and we're talking all the time about what our MarTech stack has to look like and how we change and what we need to put in. So it's a never-ending story, but I feel that we are very well placed to grow our panel. We have lofty targets. We want to grow our panel by 40% over the next 18 months, which is a big growth target for any organisation. And that's our story. So thank you. And in Australia, we say together we're Australia's lifeblood, and certainly the lifeblood of the community and saving lives every day.